I'm hoping I can videotape some of these. There's little fibers. And shoot. They look like just little, shoot, you're not even seeing that. Gosh, they look like just, that's a good one. That's a real good one, darn it. Ah, it's trying to focus behind them. They look like little filaments of dust, not dust, fabric threads, little fabric threads. But they're coiled, and they're always kind of coiled in the same exact, oh, you can't see it, dang it. They're always coiled in the exact shape. And I didn't start seeing these until about 4 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. I never in my whole life remember seeing anything like this. And I would see them, I would see like feather fibers, but I would never see like longer ones. And I'm hoping that you might be able to see some of the longer ones. And I never understood, and I share in part 2 of my human diagnosis of this parasite. I never understood. I had a dream about this parasite that they would study it in the soil, in the air, and in the food. And I now realize that this parasite, the ones I have found, the longer ones, have been on the skin after showers. Can you see that one? Kind of coiling. And if I could follow it down, you would see that the coil shape will change. So I think what happens is, and so as I finish, I'm just going to try and keep finding more. So at first I would just see 1 or 2 of these, in a week. But the longer we've had them, I've noticed that when the girls will shower and they have that really long hair, that I'll see more of these, and longer and bigger ones. And so what happens, I think, with this parasite is that when you get around water or moisture, I think they come to the surface and come out. And they're just so little. Oh man, I keep following them with the camera, but you just can't. They can't focus on them. But you can see there's dust in the air. You can kind of see sparkles with the sun. The sun is moving, so kind of not on it. But you can see these. The dust will actually settle in the room, and these things will actually catch air. Oh, there's a good one. Where is it? Right there. And these things will actually catch air. One right there, and they'll move. You saw it. It's moving around. The other things are moving down. Oh, shoot, it went over there. It moves. So what happens is, I think these parasite worms come out when you're in the shower of the pores, the hair follicles, whatever. And then they will just kind of get in the air. Oh man, where's someone? It's so hard. The sun's moving, and but I've noticed they kind of catch the air where the dust settles. And I'm pointing the camera where I can see them, but then I look at the camera and you can't see them. But you'll see the dust is now settling in the room, but if I can find, one of these fibers, they'll actually be going up where the rest of the dust is going down. There's one right there. And I kept thinking, why are these things around me going up and not down like everything else? There's a good one, dang it, right there. And you can see other things will be settling down and moving down, and these things will actually stay where they're at, or they'll go up. And as I've followed them as I can, it's hard, you can't always follow them because you can't always see behind them, but they will actually twist a little bit and then catch air, like, and then start to move up where everything else is kind of going down. They'll start to move up. And as the girls would come out of the shower and dry off or shake, you know, their towel or whatever out of their hair, I would notice a ton of these in the air and longer than these. I mean, the ones you're seeing are pretty small, but sometimes they actually are really long. And on myself as well, I take stuff to try and keep them down, and I put diatomaceous earth on my skin and things, trying to keep it from being seen. But the girls don't, and so when they shake their towels and whatever, I think they have more, plus they have longer hair, and I think they get maybe trapped in their hair. So it's kind of interesting to see. Oh, there's some more there. Okay. I don't know, you probably can't see any of it, but I'm guessing, there's a good one too, dang it. If they put these in a chamber where they could magnify it, and I wish there was a better angle. I don't know how to make you be able to see them. Let me back up more in the sun moved. That they would then be able to follow the movements of the parasite and see it catch lift and be able to float. And I think this is how this parasite travels from one spot to another. I think it gets a host. Oh man, I'm shooting the ceiling. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see him with my eye and then follow the camera on him, but I'm not doing very well. And I really should just do it and have one of the girls shake their hair and then try it. But the problem is that's usually in the evening, and to get a spot where you can see the light behind it is difficult. So anyway, that's the thing with this parasite. I think it changes shape, and I think it catches air, and I think I actually Google searched this, and because all of the symptoms I have with this parasite, Horsehair Nematomorpha, are very similar to a lot of people's explanation of Morgellons. Oh, there was a good one that just went flying up. Dang it. I'm so bad at this. But they talked about I actually went to Wikipedia and looked, and it talked about the person who discovered Morgellons said that her son had little flies that flew around the head. Well, I don't think they were flies. I think they were this parasite in its fibrous or small form as a worm, catching air. I think it opens, because I can feel them on my skin when I've gotten longer ones. It feels like a snake coiling, not coiling, you know how it moves its little scales? Wait, there's a really good one right there. You see it bouncing? It's got lift a little bit. It doesn't fall necessarily like the other particles of dirt. It actually catches air and moves up. Okay, so it's like the bottom of the snake where there's those little lines and it grabs onto you as it moves, and I think that it's opening. It feels like that when it grabs onto your skin, and so I think that this parasite actually just has these little flaps kind of that it opens up, and then it can catch the wind and the air as it floats to its new place, and I think it can kind of control whether it has lift or it goes down. And so there's a good one too. It's funny because I look at it with my eye and then I try and find it with the camera. I'm not doing so well. So anyway, that's it. I hopefully at some point can maybe have, over the holidays, have one of the girls shake their hair out after their shower so you can see how many come out. It's kind of alarming, but and I kind of have hesitated to put this out there because I don't want people to think they come to my house and they're going to get these in the air, but the reality is it's all over. I'm not the only one with this illness. Obviously, I think most of the people that actually have Morgellons have this parasite, but I don't buy into this, that it's what is it, that it's man-made or genetically modified. I think that this is just a parasite like hookworm or threadworm, and that it just has it manifests in different ways, that it changes itself. You know, its form is this little worm, and then it moves, it gets into things, it lays its eggs, and then the eggs are in the soil. You walk barefoot, you get it in you, it morphs inside of you, and then it comes out as these little hairs and fibers, and then it starts all over again. And so, because I've never in my life seen all the time now, we just see these little filaments everywhere in the air. They just all the time, they're by my head, and I'll see them whiz by, but they're not only by my head. That's just, I only see them when they're by my head. So when Morgellons founder, oh, there's a good one. Shoot. Said that there's little flies. I don't. They're not really flies, but they're these parasites coming out of the scalp, and then you see them, and then they fall and do their thing, floating around. So, oh man, I am not videotaping anything. I'm sorry. I can see them, and then I move it, and then and then the light will catch them, and then I think if I stirred up the air in the room again, you'd maybe see more, but I'm not going to make this a 45-minute video. Basically, I've given you what I believe is the thing, and so I think if somebody came in my house and vacuumed up all of the dust, oh, there's some good ones, right? Right. There's two of them just kind of doing their thing. That they would be able to put a filter on and then go examine it, and I think they will find eventually that this parasite does release itself from its host and travel this way looking for another host to infect or lay its eggs in the soil or whatever it does. And maybe how it gets into the lungs, you know, a hookworm and threadworm come through the skin and then get into the lungs. Possibly you just inhale this parasite from the surrounding soil or dust in the air or the wind, and it sets up shop in the lung as, so it doesn't need to burrow. I mean, it does burrow. I can feel it burrowing, but maybe that's one of its methods of infecting its host is just through the lung, just being inhaled in this dust form and then setting up shop, because I definitely have it in my lungs. My lung damage is worse than ever. And so anyway, that was just trying to share that information that has come to light since my last post. And also I mentioned on one of my other videos, but it's not on my human diagnosis story, so I'm just going to say it real quick right here. The black lines under the fingernails, and also a waxy skin buildup. And I have a video about it, but it's not on my actual human diagnosis story, because these are symptoms that I've put together with the parasite after I made those. You have symptoms, but I don't always attribute them to the parasite, and I don't know always that what is parasite and what is not parasite. So, but now I'm sure the waxy skin. So what happens is I think this film is created on the skin to keep the moisture in the follicle areas, and so it gets to the point where I'm scraping off tons of this waxy buildup. It's kind of horrible. And then black lines under the fingernails, and then the white lines that come when you peel them off. So those are actually symptoms of the parasite. I know now, like right now, I have no black lines, and I haven't done any peroxide soaks, but if I did a peroxide soak right now, the black lines would start coming back, and as well as the white lines of trauma afterwards where the worms coil in the tip. Anyway, you can check out my blog, thesecretisgratitude.com, or you can check out my YouTube channel, The Secret is Gratitude, for more on this parasite and more about the story of how I was diagnosed, how I got it diagnosed, the drugs I've tried, the treatments I've tried, and everything else. I just wanted to add this new symptom that we've been having, or new discovery about this parasite. And thanks for watching. Feel free to write me on my blog privately if you have any questions, or on my YouTube channel if you feel you want to ask anything. But basically everything I've discovered about it, I've put out publicly. So there really, I haven't figured out a cure. I'm not hiding anything. Everything is online. So people tend to want to write me and ask if they can go to see my doctor, or if I have discovered a cure, and I haven't, obviously. Oh, there's a really good one too. Gosh. Anyway, that's the story. Thanks for watching.